we are about to get into spoiler territory. I don't know how much of it will be spoiler territory, but we will probably be getting into some, and I know people get very angry when that happens. So we are about to review, I almost said Top Gun again. We are about to review Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, starring Tom Cruise, Ving Rhames, who... I love Ving Rhames in this movie. Haley Atwell with a standout performance. Simon Pegg, Vanessa Kirby, Rebecca Ferguson, S.I. Morales, the whole lot. This movie, guys, was... I can't stress enough. It was so much fun. How did you feel about it, Mary?
I mean, I'm indifferent.
I figured.
It was all right. Like, it was moderately entertaining, but I'm not familiar with the rest of the movies. I haven't watched the rest of the movies, and you didn't really need to understand what was going on in this one.
Correct.
I just thought, like, 2 hours and 43 minutes to just get the part 1 of a story where, like, at the end they say it's only just the beginning is a little bit like, oh, can't wait to see part 2 in 3 years. Like, I don't know. I didn't really feel that strongly about it. Oh. And I liked Top Gun Maverick way better, just since you mentioned that. It doesn't feel like the same type of movie to me. It feels a little more soulless, a little more mass marketed, but I understand that that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. And I didn't expect it to be as, like, detached from reality as it was. Like, I needed to suspend my disbelief on a lot of the ridiculous things in it. I mean, the AI storyline is pretty far-fetched. The suitcase that handcrafts,
that's always been part of it, though.
Silicone, like, hyper-realistic masks.
People going to this movie have already accepted that. They don't have a problem with it. I want to point out, by the way, if you want further proof that entertainment for the sake of entertainment brings people together, the theater was packed, and it was people of all walks of life.
I'm just that turbo autist that sees a scene in a movie and starts questioning everything about it, like how it would be realistic, and I'm not the type of person that would enjoy it. Like, when they showed all of these people who work for the CIA, like, in a room, in a warehouse, like, on typewriters, copying down all of the world's knowledge so that what is it called? The entity can't get to it.
Dude, that was
like,
actually...
how much are they getting paid to transcribe the library of knowledge from the internet?
They did a very similar thing in the show Person of Interest, where the machine, which Harold Finch creates, the machine is an AI that he basically designs that the machine has to essentially destroy itself every night lest it get too powerful and escape. So what the machine does is it starts a company and it pays people to transcribe all of its memories onto an actual database, so that it can, kind of like in the way like mailing something to yourself to prevent your memory from being. It's exactly like that.
There were a lot of derivative parts of the movie that were supposed to be, like,
but they were
deliberate
great.
nods
Look,
to other
okay, the AI explanation is very, very flowery and Hollywood. It is not meant to be realistic. Okay. It's fine. It was great. They have a lot of the action set pieces borrow heavily in theme from other movies. My favorite being Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise being kind of cuffed together, which I'm sure has been done tons of times, but it immediately reminded me of the movie Tomorrow Never Dies, when Pierce Brosnan and Michelle Yeoh are handcuffed together on the motorcycle. They also, the sub at the beginning of the movie feels very much like the very beginning of that same movie with the stealth sub.
I'm sure Tom Cruise seeing the headlines about the submersible was like,
it was so freaking great.
This is going to hit a little bit too close to home.
The action scenes in this film are not just visually stunning, they are beyond expertly paced. So there are scenes involving S.I. Morales' character, Gabriel, that are timed perfectly with Tom Cruise's character trying to escape from this hallway. Guys, I'm not
sure if it was all expertly timed.
Paced. I said paced, not timed.
Paced, so whatever. But like the car chase thing that goes on for like over 20 minutes.
But it's constantly different. It's not just the same thing over and over again.
I know, Brett. Yeah. Calm down.
Go see it.
It's okay. I'm just offering one criticism. You can like Tom Cruise. It's okay.
He wasn't the standout of this movie. Haley Atwell was.
That that car chase scene was it dragged.
The one in Rome or wherever.
In Rome.
Yeah.
Although you said it was like changing constantly. Okay, it still was like dragging.
Also in the same, if you noticed, it's in the same location as where they did Fast and the Furious 10.
I didn't know that because I didn't see Fast and the Furious 10.
Oh yeah, you weren't here for basically the action, the scene where the car is going down the steps. They do a very similar thing in Fast and the Furious 10 in the same location.
There were just constant superhuman feats in this movie that make no sense.
They eventually, what they point out here, one of the bad guys points out like that the anti-patriotism ends up being the bad guy. Like they end up like he points out, the government official points out to S.I. Morales, he goes, outdated notions of patriotism. And he's very much seen as not a good person, right? So most of this movie is them essentially chasing after a MacGuffin, which is this crucifix key, which is supposed to be able to help them combat the entity. Right?
Yeah.
Right? So it is a MacGuffin.
It's the key. It's not the key to combating it. It's the key to controlling it. To
controlling it. Okay. So, well, I mean, Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt wants to destroy it. Everybody else, all the other governments of the world want to control it.
What is your point about patriotism? Because I thought that it wasn't anti-patriotism, but it was showing that every government had equally sinister interests for wanting control of
but I'm saying they frame a guy, they frame that guy who S.I. Morales ends up taking out, again, I already said spoilers, guys, as basically saying is like patriotism's dead, and he wants to basically rule the world.
They want a world government.
Yeah. So these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
One world government people are the bad guys.
Globalism bad.
Yes. And to be honest, more than anything, as great as Tom Cruise was in this movie, Haley Atwell is the standout performer in this film. And everybody who made Dial of Destiny should be pissing themselves with embarrassment at how much better they introduced her character than they did on how much better of a job they did introducing Haley Atwell in this film than what they did with Phoebe Waller-Bridge in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
She was vulnerable. She was strong when she needed to be. She was not perfect in every situation, but she did get the upper hand several times.
Her character is uninitiated.
Exactly. She's treated.
And she has to constantly rely on and trust Tom Cruise's character to like do the heavy lifting.
But she also gets one over on him more than a couple of times.
At the same time, isn't robbed of like the fact that she's incredibly clever and competent.
And Haley Atwell gives this performance, like it's very, very, like she feel like there is almost like a funny trope where it's like she's a woman, she can't drive. She's really bad at driving. And I couldn't stop laughing. I'm picturing like 60-year-old Tom Cruise like helping the writers. Like what if she can't drive, guys?
I don't know if it's because Tom Cruise like has so much control over the narrative that like he wouldn't put up with getting Harrison Forded. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes,
like he wouldn't let Dial of Destiny happen to him.
Exactly.
Why did Harrison Ford let that happen to him? Because he's at a similar.
Because Tom Cruise has more producing power working through Paramount than Harrison Ford.
I would just think of Harrison Ford as having like the same level of prestige as an actor.
He might care more. He just literally might care more.
Yeah, Tom Cruise just seems to literally care more about the outcomes of his movies, and especially about like his characters getting the respect that they deserve.
Yeah. Like in this thing, like Harrison Ford might not care whether there gets to be another one of these movies, but Tom Cruise very much clearly does. And what most of the people that have critiques of Indiana Jones or Star Wars or any of these franchises would say is like, if you put a little bit more thought and a little bit more care into what happens to your characters and how they're treated, maybe you wouldn't have lost the faith of the audiences several years ago, as is proven by the box office returns on Indiana Jones and so many other movies. It's ridiculous. I can't believe how much easier it would be to make a movie like this if they just listened to people and made their movies the way that they can. It's not that difficult. This is not an overly complex story in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, it was a little bit complex, or I guess it was just how far-fetched it was that made it hard for me to follow a little bit, but I'm not good at following stories of like these high-octane action films anyway.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you think could have been improved upon, or any critique that you have?
Yeah. Okay. So I almost felt like the AI story is a bit ridiculous, and
is it ridiculous in a good way that makes you buy into it even more?
It's fine. I feel like maybe there's a middle ground there where they could have been a little bit more technical in their explanation of the AI aspects to it, but it didn't need it, and it might have taken away from the story. It could become more important to the story in part 2. I thought that they wrapped up the story well. I thought that the fight scene with Rebecca with Ilsa, and with Gabriel was good, but maybe didn't need to end the way that it did.
Why?
So I don't know if it ended up being the call to action that they thought it was
when
in
she
the film.
Accepted the mission of joining the IMF.
No, Ilsa is the not Grace. Ilsa's the one who fought Gabriel on the bridge. So I thought that the ending there was almost unnecessary. That he has that same fervor for his job, his friends, and his work. Just after
wait,
than he
she's
did
gonna
before.
show up in part 2 anyway.
Yeah. So
she's gonna be alive.
I thought that Shea Wiggum's Briggs character, the 2 government agents, was tacked on and didn't need to be there.
Yeah, they seemed kind of cornball.
I would have been fine with keeping the Paris character that they used in this movie. I thought she was great. I thought she did a great job. Her pleated skirt was very The Transporter Part 2 to me in a more tasteful way. And I enjoyed that.
There was no real explanation for why she ended up working for... what was the name of the character?
Gabriel. Yeah.
There was no explanation for why she ended up working for Gabriel.
No,
why she was there.
She doesn't really need one. It's almost extensive background if you do that. I don't know if that was really necessary to do that, but I think that the movie focused where it needed to focus. There was more than enough time spent away from Tom Cruise's character. He's not on screen the whole time. Mm-hmm. I thought there was a good distribution of all the characters except for those 2 government agents. I think if you had actually gotten rid of those 2 characters and left the focus on the Paris character, you could have expanded her story more, because this is a long movie. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes. It doesn't feel that long.
It felt pretty long to me.
It didn't feel that long to me, especially if you like really, really well directed, really, really well paced action. But I think if you had eliminated those 2 characters and just left her character, that could have been better, more expansive, and a better use of their time.
Okay.
So that would have been my critique.
These movies just can't get enough of the fighting on top of trains scenes.
Yes.
Have you noticed that?
It's always so funny, because it's you imagine on a real train, if you even just bump someone, they're going to go flying off the train. I will say that the few scenes in the movie that had some strained CGI were on top of the train. Mm-hmm. The rest of
what about when the train was hanging off the bridge?
That was pretty good. There was some strained CGI anytime they're hanging off the train and moving around. That looks very blue screen or green screen. Yeah. But everything else I thought looked really, really good. The motorcycle stunt that is the most hyped part of this movie is excellently placed. It's very important. It kicks off the most intense part of Act 3, but it doesn't end the movie. I was worried that they were going to end the movie with the motorcycle stunt, which wouldn't have made sense. If why give it away early if you're going to end the movie on that? So I thought it was expertly placed and done. I liked it a lot. I think everyone should go see it. And at the end of the day, it's a brainless blockbuster movie about an artificial intelligence and a MacGuffin that looks like a crucifix that people keep carrying around and pickpocketing off each other. It's literally getting stolen from everybody's pocket constantly. I'm waiting for a dude there to put it in a zippered pocket. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
So I think everyone should go see it. What would you, if you were to rate it? Maybe we should come up with a different rating system.
Oh, other than 10.
Other than out of 10, because I gave Sound of Freedom a 9.5.
I would give this 5.5, but only because I didn't personally like it. I don't think that it's bad.
I'd give it a 9. It's like a 6. If the question is did it achieve what it meant to achieve, then I give it a 9. I think it did a really good job. And I think the ending with Haley Atwell's character, with the character of Grace, and the way that she's essentially initiated into the IMF gives you an ending which is as solid of an ending as you can get when you know this is a part 1 of 2.
If they made you're right that they did a good job introducing her character, but if they were to make like a spin-off that was just about her, I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, I don't know if she's.
It relies on Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I don't know if she's worthy of a spin-off on her own, but I think it's as expert of a job as you can do to introduce a strong female independent woman that don't need no man, as you can do in today's day and age. And I think other studios should look to this film, look to the way that she was brought in, look to the ways she was allowed to succeed, look at the ways she was allowed to be flawed, to not be perfect, to not have all the answers all the time. When they say that she has to go on the train alone, she's scared. She's reticent. Mm-hmm. They also make her make choices. There's a hero's journey aspect to it, of course, where when the banking info is transferring, where she has to finally make a choice about what she's going to do, and she chooses the right path. It's expertly done. If in the form of storytelling, it's expertly done, and everyone should go see this movie this weekend. So those are my takes on it. So call me crazy. I don't even know if I would call Tom Cruise the best part of this movie. He is one of the best parts, but I was just so shocked at how well they made Haley Atwell's character work that I was a little bit floored. So go see it for Tom, though, if anything, because Tom's the best. So.
He had to put the message at the beginning of the movie that's like, thank you. It's an honor to entertain you.
I think my favorite part of that was like when I was watching the original advertisement where they show the motorcycle stunt, you know, where he base jumps off the cliff with the motorcycle and he lands and he cuts the parachute and he goes, thank you so much to everyone for being here. I'm like, you don't need to thank everyone all the time, but I respect it and I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.